Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Tommy Gilmore with Noisy Bird Digital Marketing, and you are watching another episode of Spotlight Southern Utah. I'm excited. I'm joined today with Mr. Sparky of St. George himself, James, so I'm excited to chat with you, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm going to say this is probably my first one.
Yeah.
But looking forward to it, this interview.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here. So if this is your first time watching Spotlight Southern Utah, we talk to a different business owner every week. We learn from each other, and we hopefully help you as a fellow business owner to feel like you're not alone in what you're doing. So, James, you just recently started, you said March of this past year, right?
That's correct, yes. Yeah.
And what's nice is you have some help because this is a franchise, right?
That's correct, yep, I do.
So I'm excited to hear more about that. Tell people about like your background and what made you want to, purchase a franchise and sort of get that off the ground. How did that opportunity come up?
Well, we got to go back a ways, but let's just say I've been an electrician for 18 years, and I actually wasn't going to go into this field. I had no plans to. It was just kind of a stepping stone job for a minute while I figured out my next move, but I got into it, realized I actually really do like working with my hands. I like building things, and so I got into the trade. I excelled in a very large corporation to the point where I got into some management positions. And just something that I learned as I kind of grew up in a company is culture really does matter. And I got tired of the culture I was in, unfortunately, but it just became an opportunity where, I felt like I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to build my own culture in my own company and provide opportunities for others. And, why not take the skills I already have and start a company that can provide quality service and that can really make the customer be first, right? They always come first. And how do you give a customer, just that positive experience? And so I wanted to build a team that cares about their customer, where we can go provide an awesome service and, at the end of the day, always have that customer calling us back because we treat them with respect, we treat their home with respect. It's getting to that place where they trust us in their home with their spouse or their kids because that's the type of people we are. We have good character, and at the end of the day, we want your home to be safer than we found it, cleaner than we found it. We want to be essentially your trusted electrician, your friend. So that was kind of part of it. I mean, life changes. So we had a lot of life changes. I won't get into that stuff, but
yeah,
I guess I can jump into why I chose to do franchise versus my own.
That'd be great, yeah.
So I'd actually been researching purchasing a business for a long time down here in southern Utah because I'm originally from northern Utah and want to come down here for family and my wife, and I like it down here. But in that search, I just really wasn't finding anything that kind of fit the bill. It didn't have to be electrical. I do like any type of business, honestly, just the challenge of it all. But I came across an electrical business for sale type thing. I was like, all right, I'll jump in. And found out it was a franchise and didn't know a lot about franchises. And so I kind of researched franchises for about 6 months and researched other franchises. And one of the things I came to like about franchises is, you do have a lot of back support on getting your business set up, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and with whether that be with marketing or whether that be with just the actual business licensing or all the different insurances you need to have in place, or hey, what's your actual business plan? I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is like actually building out a business plan. How is it going to operate? What are you actually selling? And anyways, so that's kind of one of the benefits there. Just like anybody, it's hard to give some money away, but if you know where that money is going with a franchise and that you're seeing the benefits of what they're doing for you, it's not so difficult. And one thing that was important to me in a franchise or any business was its culture. So I aligned very much with the culture that Mr. Sparky portrays and the way they are. I met a lot of people in the business, a lot of other owners, and that's what I saw, that's what I felt. And so after searching probably 20 different franchises, I ended up coming back to Mr. Sparky, the original electrical company I came across.
Yeah.
And so, I decided to jump ship back in November and open doors in March, and it's been kind of a wild ride. And so we've been open for 2 months now, and meeting all sorts of great people. Have several customers already, and so.
That's pretty exciting for you then, yeah.
Yeah.
So something that, people that are watching, to kind of reiterate on the franchise side, it sounds like what you get is, yes, you're buying an existing brand, you're buying credibility and notoriety and things like that. So they help you with marketing, they help you get the license, they help you, I'd imagine, find a building to lease and some of these other things maybe.
Yeah, and it's a franchise, right? So you're also you're taking on that name, and so they have guidelines, right? There's certain things I can and can't do, but for the most part, I'm free to really do a lot of the different things. I can hire my own marketing agency. I hire my own employees. I hire, so there's a lot of freedoms there still, with the companies you work with or the resources that you need to bring in to support your business. But they help provide guidance. How, at the end of the day, hey, what do I do in this situation? I have a whole list of other owners across the country. Hey, I ran into this. What do you think? What should I do? What have you done? And so there's a lot of resources there, and it can be a pretty good community of owners that are, really fighting the same fight, just in a different place.
Yeah. So if you're watching this and maybe you're not a business owner yet, you've been interested and want to take the dive, but you feel insecure because you don't know what that would look like or how to do any of that. It sounds like looking into a franchise might be a good option because you get a lot of that support. You get the business ownership, but you get kind of a built-in support system instead of just feeling like you were thrown out and left to swim or drown, right?
Yeah, and even if you choose not to go with the franchise, I highly recommend just getting a business coach. Mm-hmm. Having somebody that has some experience that can give you some guidance, because it truly is a lonely world. You're worried about all the things in the business, and if you have one or two mentors you can reach out to just consult with, and that's going to help keep your mental health probably in a better spot than stress and having that anxiety. So
yeah, I think we were talking about this off camera, but something a lot of people don't understand is we're responsible as the business owner for other people's livelihoods.
Yeah.
Like hey, they have bills, they have families, they have their dreams and goals, and we get to play a part of that, which is exciting. But there's also the nerve-wracking part of if things aren't going well, or if we have a down week or a down day or whatever, that starts to weigh on us a little bit for sure.
Oh, totally. I mean, you're the steward of that business and that money and those employees, and it's a lot of responsibility if you're taking it seriously to make sure that you're leading that company and that team into a good place. And so if you are careless about that, that's tough for people to want to stay around. People will stay with you if you build that vision of what you're trying to accomplish, and then they see you taking the actions to try and build that business. You're the leader at the end of the day, so you got to communicate with your people and make sure that you're leading in the direction that you said you were going to.
Yeah. So you brought up it's a new thing. Obviously, with anything that's new, there's going to be stumbles or mistakes. Has there been anything that, like, any great learning experiences so far that you're like, hey, I wouldn't wish to do that again, but I'm glad I went through it because of what I've learned?
There's always hindsight, right? You don't know what you don't know until you go through it. Maybe you'll think you need all these things in order to act and start going, and the truth is you don't. One thing, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist myself, but I've had to learn that you don't have to have all the tools to act and move forward. You just start going. Maybe you don't have that new tool that allows you to do this cool thing. Well, you know what? In your business, maybe you don't have the recording software or the hardware, but you sure have a phone.
Yep.
And it's got a camera. So it's just like, sometimes you just have to start in those things, and you don't always have to go buy that big purchase, because that's not truly what's going to make you successful. It's you as an individual and what you're striving for and what that vision is. At a general level, I would say that. The brand recommended I buy all these certain materials, and I did, and what I've learned is I don't use half of them, so I have some overstock I don't need, and it's like, oh, okay, at what point do I take it back and get credit? But
yeah,
those things happen. I think something to learn from is not everything's ever going to go 100% the way you want it, and that's business. You have to be nimble and adapt as it's coming, and not get into, it's easy to get into that kind of anxiety spiral of, Like, oh, this isn't working, that's not working, and why did we go down this road? And you kind of have to just check yourself and be like, all right, this happened because of this. Now what am I going to do about it and move forward? Just try and keep yourself in that positive momentum because, you know, what is business? We're all solving problems. That's what it is. We're solving a problem, whether that's making something more convenient or for us, we do a lot of troubleshooting at people's homes through electrical systems. And so they have a problem, we go solve it for them. But maybe it's food, maybe it's something else. You know, you're in marketing, so people aren't getting enough leads. How do I bring more leads in the door? Well, all right, I got some tools and some solutions for you, and we can work on that, right?
Exactly.
It's not necessarily the question you ask, but at the end of the day, it's just keeping your attitude in check and moving forward. And coming back to leadership again, your team is going to react to the way you present yourself. And so if you don't keep it going or motivating, your team is eventually going to want to leave. They want to come to an environment where they're happy, excited, and ready to go. At least I want my team members to be that way.
Yeah, totally.
So, because, you know, we're very customer facing with this company, and so we want all of our interactions to be very positive with our customers, and that's how we want to carry ourselves. That's how we want to represent ourselves. And when you're not that way, it's never fun to go in a room and be next to that negative individual. It's like, get me away. Versus when you're very inviting and very positive, that just changes the whole environment. I think that's part of the success of a lot of businesses. The vibe, the character, if you will, that business takes on is what attracts people to them.
Yeah, exactly. And I, like you said, like we get, as the business owners, we get to set that culture. Like something that I've had to struggle with is how transparent do I want to be with my team, right? So, you know, if we have a down month, obviously I'm the primary salesperson for my business right now. And so I don't want them to view me as weak or view me as, hey, he's not working as hard for us or whatever. But I felt like it's important for me to show my people, hey, this is how we're doing on money. And this is what I'm doing. I'm being consistent. This is what I'm doing. These things just happen, you know. But I also have learned to practice gratitude that they don't have to deal with that stress. Like I've started to change my mindset because before I'm like, oh, it's not fair. They don't have to deal with this. And I had to start to say, no, like I am the leader. I'm grateful to be the leader, and I'm grateful to shield them from having this amount of stress. Like they have enough stress. They're worried about helping grow my business and their personal life and you know, the clients we have and those things. They shouldn't have to worry about the amount of leads coming in. That's not even their job. It's my job. And so I get to practice that gratitude and change that mindset for myself. And change that culture within my company too.
Exactly. I'm actually glad you brought up gratitude because that's something I've really worked on the last several months. Every morning I am thinking about the previous day and thinking about what I'm grateful for, the people I'm grateful for. And I also take that opportunity to send a quick message, whether it's a text message or say, hey, I appreciate this or that about you. Usually early in the morning, I'm just thinking, how awesome would it be to get a message from somebody when you wake up and it says, hey, thank you for this, that. How impactful is that for that individual? And so that's kind of how I start my day. If you bring it back to the customer base, when we go serve our customers out in the community, it's at the door, hey, thank you for selecting us to come serve you today. Thank you for giving us your trust to come into your home, because, you know, there's literally 50 other companies out there that they could call, but, you know, I don't mind them calling the best. That's fine too. But that's the heart part of it that I want my team to portray. When you call our team, Lily is my office manager. She'll be typically the one answering the phone if it's not me. And the idea is when she answers the phone, like, it's an exciting, happy-go-lucky tone that she carries, and, you know, it brightens someone's day, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, thank you for calling us. Thank you. And so it matters. It makes a big difference. And when you start to realize it's not all of these big glamorous things that matter, it's all those small little notions and thoughts. And when you act on it, it starts to just change your whole horizon personally, and then in your business, and then with your team, and then with your customers, you know?
Yeah.
When I hire my team and I tell them this, it's like, if you show up one day and you're off, let's have that conversation. Can we get you back to a place where you're ready to go and excited? Or do we need to say, hey, take the day off?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't want to have a negative impact with any of my customers.
Yeah, I heard something recently that it was on a podcast, and the podcast guy said, your thoughts are magnets. And I believe that fully. So like you said, if you show up to work and you're, oh man, this sucks, and this is tough, and I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, my baby threw up on me, and like whatever it is, if you bring that energy, you're going to bring more of that into the office and into just other things, and it makes it so people don't want to use your business ultimately. And so we have to be mindful of creating that culture and pouring into people, bringing that energy up for people so that it doesn't reflect poorly on our business or even, our personal lives.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, this has been great. You've given awesome advice. I love the idea of gratitude. I like the idea of sending, personal messages, thank you messages, all that. To end, you even gave advice without me asking. So I love the advice, but I wanted to ask if there's any marketing problems, like anything specific to marketing that you're like, man, I didn't know this would be a challenge, or I didn't know this was a thing before I started working or owning the business.
Yeah, marketing has a very bad rap, and I think it has a lot to do. I mean, obviously there's probably bad marketing companies, good marketing companies, but I think what you have to start to understand is marketing isn't a short-term game, it's a long-term game, and you have to try new things out. So in today's age, there's many ways to market. Depending on the community you're in, you have to figure out what clicks with that community. It feels like you're wasting dollars, but I would just say you're finding different ways not to do it. Mm-hmm. And then once you pinpoint, some of the more successful ways, then that's when you pour it all in and go. And as a business owner, that sucks. Like, you have capital and you don't want to burn all the cash, but at the same time, you still have to get leads in the door. And so even in the last, 2.5 months, I've made changes. So I didn't have leads coming in the door. Okay, I'm doing this and this. All right, I'm going to go start doing this. So personally, I went and started doing door-to-door knocking with other businesses, that I know their customers have electrical needs, and just started building relationships with those owners. I truly believe in building a successful business is about building trust with others. Because in business, my opinion, if you're doing it right, you're not just looking at that one sell and walking away. You're looking to build a customer for life, right? Because that customer now becomes an organic magnet that says, hey, go here, go to Mr. Sparky, they're the best, they'll treat you the best, have the best experience, etc., right? And that's what we're trying to build, that long-term, this is the business you want to go to. And so, I've done mailers. I started doing mailers, and that's another one of those things. Statistically, it's not till that 4th, 5th, or 6th mailer that somebody gets, and they've seen your logo that many times that they start to familiarize and start gaining a little bit of trust. In the community down here in southern Utah, I've learned it's a very, very socially engaged, and so people really are looking for a personal recommendation of a company to go with. They're not always just looking on Google. That's something that I just recently started with Instagram or Facebook is, I'm very much a introvert, but I'm like, all right, I gotta get myself out there, this has gotta be successful, so we gotta go. So I've started engaging more on social media and throwing things out there, and feel free to follow Mr. Sparky in St. George. He'll come up on Instagram.
I'll put that in the description too so they can follow you, yeah.
But follow along. It's one of those things, I'm trying to be fun about it. Sometimes it's just building awareness, because I really want to educate my customers. Most homeowners really don't have a clue about their electrical system, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
The switch works, I'm good. I got power when I plug in, okay. But, it's like any other system, your HVAC system, it does need maintenance. And there are things that go bad and things that break, and depending on the install, if it was poorly done, you're going to have more issues. And so I do an education piece, and that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to educate you, like, what is a GFCI? How does it work? How do you reset it? How do you know if that's the actual problem? So that as a homeowner, if something's not working, you can at least have an education, be like, all right, maybe check this, check that, before you do have to call the professional to come in. I mean, I coach people all the time over the phone, like, all right, go check this, go check that, and it's usually a 50-50 that they figure it out and we're good to go. But at the end of the day, we're still happy to come out and at least do a safety check. That's what we do with the electrical systems. We'll tune them up once a year. But anyways, yeah, like you just have to figure out what works in your community, and sometimes it's a personality type that, you know, maybe you're not the right person to get on social media, but there's somebody else that does a good job.
Yeah.
And I think coming back to, we were talking, the stress, right? Having that stress, not putting it on your team, like that gratitude piece right there, it's like, okay, you're having so much stress. It's the reason I actually brought one of my team members on. I was like, I couldn't do it all. I was failing too much. And so I was like, all right, I don't know that I have the money, but I need to bring them on so I can start focusing in this area and get more leads coming in. And that was a benefit. I'm very grateful that I found somebody that can take care of that.
Yeah.
And, you know, to take that stress away, and now I can focus.
When we take that stress and that worry and we just say, you know what, I know what I'm good at, I know what other people are good at, I'm going to give them what they're good at, and I'm going to try to stick with what I'm good at. I've found in business anyway, 9 times out of 10, that's where, as long as you're not doing it too quickly or too much, that's where you actually build a business instead of become self-employed for 80 hours a week.
We sometimes get in our own way, right? Because we're commanding the ship, and we always think, you know, what we think is right. And this is something I've learned in a lot of my previous leadership positions, is you sometimes have to let go of the reins and just trust. And me personally, I think the best way to operate any business is on trust. And I actually state this in my interviews with people. If I can't get to trust you within the couple hours we're together, then you're not going to work for me. Because I got to trust you to be in front of a customer. Now, how are you going to be? And you have to make quick decisions sometimes. Sometimes you hire the wrong person. So I'm kind of that slow to hire, quick to fire type person. I don't want to fire somebody, but the stability of the company means I got to make decisions. You keep somebody on and you got your other 8 players over here working, you're demeaning those individuals by keeping somebody on. Not to pulling their weight or being a team member. They're hard decisions, it's not fun, but you have to do what's best for the business.
Well, James, this has been really fun. Thank you so much for letting me come and sit down. You know, we've got the cool truck behind us. I appreciate you letting me come to the office here. Guys, go check them out. I'm going to put their website and their phone number in the description there, as well as the Instagram to follow. And if you are watching and you want to check in on your own marketing and see what is and isn't working, I have a free guide. It's noisybirdmarketing.com/checklist. I'm going to put that in the description also. So check them out though, guys. And thank you for watching Spotlight Southern Utah. We'll see you again next week. We'll be live with another business owner.